my lasting.
He always wore the beanie, and everyone said he had cancer, but he didn't.
What the fuck have I just joined into?
What was the name of the guy who sang the song that goes,
Daniel Powter, yeah.
Danny.
That song came out when I was on holiday in Ibiza, and the hotel room had MTV, which I did not have at home. And I listened to that song about 6 times a day.
What, as a result of MTV, or just on purpose because you enjoyed it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like the outdoors. Not least in Ibiza. So...
I was just saying, Sam, it's probably the get-up, but Sam doesn't look particularly well at all.
Yeah,
partly because you can't see any of my hair.
What I will say is that the mask is definitely helping with Sam's audio quality. It's almost providing some kind of like permanent pop filter in front of his head.
Should I keep this on?
No.
He's not wearing it for any epidemiological reasons. What he's using it like a horse feed bag full of vitamin gummies.
Yeah, in case you've not
in my feed bag.
In case you've not realised, Sam has COVID, but unlike when I had COVID, he's just choosing to muscle through it. So, well respected.
Some of us are winners.
Okay. Now I won't have you attack my asthmatic ass here, you piece of shit.
Oh, I have one for the baby. Oh.
The only question is, where did you get them from?
I did once go to the doctor for recurrent throat infections when I was like 18. He told me that I had the immune system of a toddler.
Surely toddlers have extremely strong immune systems because of all the dirt they eat.
Well, I assume it's a process. It's not like, a 4-year-old eats like 1 clump of dirt and they're like, immunity.
That'll do me. I don't get sick very often because I have a theory that when I was a child, I was a very sickly and diseased child, a lot like Edward VI. And my theory is that I just got all of the diseases as a child and then cracked on with it. Like, at one point, my parents had to smuggle me on board a flight to Japan because I wasn't infectious, but I still had a lot of like chicken pox, like marks on me, and I've had a lot of different bacterial infections,
was there
not for a long time.
Was there a spate of kind of chicken pox outbreaks in the country following your arrival?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of pox parties, but I've never heard of purposefully shipping someone to a whole other country to create a pox plague.
Well, they sent the plague over here. We're sending something back.
All right. So it's a little bit like gift exchange.
I would also like to point out that I was approximately like 2 years old not even 2 years old. Like, my parents smuggled me literally and like they covered me up. They swaddled me like the baby Jesus. Had me one of those like baby carriers. So you
weren't purposefully super spreader Saito. You were just sort of like forced into it.
Yeah.
My parents used me as basically a bioweapon.
And they floated you over the over the Pacific.
Kids don't know these days, but bioweapon terrorism was a lot bigger back in the 90s than it is now. Especially in Japan.
I had a big, I don't want to say feud, but feud with my dad, because we went to Disneyland when I was 7, and he, I alleged, intentionally dunked me under the water in the pool, which caused me to get an incredibly serious inner ear infection that meant I could not leave our hotel room.
This is the worst. Were you cutting promos on each other, like that kind of feud, or was it just like you were a bit salty with him?
I was salty for a good 15 years. But I remember some kind of fugue state that I was in.
This is a football podcast, not therapy.
Well, we had to go on the Eurostar home because I couldn't fly because I had this like I had bad ear.
Debilitating ear problem.
To make up for it, my dad bought me a Goofy Wild West action playset, which
when you say Goofy, do you mean
the Eurostar?
The actual like character of Goofy, or
we have so
like
much to talk about here. There's so much actual shit that we've missed.
Okay.
I've had a very funny bacterial infection once, but the details of it I'm not willing to share on an NFL podcast that three or four people might listen to.
We need a kind of an agreed
Shut
upon...
the hell up!
Hello, and welcome to Stiff Upper Lip Podcast, the NFL podcast by Brits. We are in partnership with Gridiron Extra, and we are returning for our third season. So yeah, on we begin with me, Ed.
Me, Emma.
I'm Sam.
I'm Max Saito.
And I'm Tom. Max, that genuine. that was brilliant. I couldn't mute myself on OBS quickly enough. So at the beginning of that intro is just me fucking like snort heaving into my mic. Shut the hell up! I'm clipping that. That is going on the soundboard for next year. Absolutely, Sam. Isolate that when you edit it, please. Anyway, we are back. We had a little bit of a hiatus. We didn't talk about the championship game at all.
Good.
But we are back with NFL fucking on a Friday, and we are preparing for the big one. Guys, are you excited for Super Bowl 56?
Yes. That's 1 out of 2. Not bad.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5.8.
Okay. Out of what? 7.5 or?
Like out of 10.
Is it like an exponential scale, like a Richter scale?
Nah, I mean, for a regular day, I say a 5. So it's fun shit.
So
it's Super Bowl 56 is moving the needle for Sam. Just about.
If I actually get a negative test and I can boogie down on Sunday, then we'll be up to the mid sixes.
Oh, all right. Have you ever been at a point where you were at a 10 for anything in your life? Because surely this Bengals-Rams Super Bowl is got to be...
The one thing that I am kind of resentful of that this bout of COVID cruelly took from me was going to see Jackass 4 as soon as I humanly could. And I was at about a 10 for that.
So you were at a 10 for Jackass 4?
Well, not to like spoil the movie for anyone, but one of the stars of Jackass 4 is in fact playing in the Rams secondary for Super Bowl 56.
I haven't seen it. Who is it?
That's right. You thought Eric Weddle?
No, it's Eric Weddle.
Evo wearing a beard, like fake beard. No. From what I understand, Jalen Ramsey's in it because of course he is.
Yeah.
So Machine Gun Kelly has not been drafted in as a...
Oh no, Machine Gun Kelly will definitely be in there playing for the Rams. I mean,
it makes sense that you wouldn't want the Bengals.
Skinny alternative white man. How could we lose?
Oh yes, the Rams are playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, and for the second time in NFL history, and can you believe it, in back-to-back years, the team in the Super Bowl is also hosting the game at their stadium. It's at SoFi Stadium, which is honestly a little bit mad, to be honest. The fact that, like, I'd have thought that we'd have had more teams playing at their home stadium in Super Bowls, and yet here we are.
Is it also not the second year in a row where the home team for the Super Bowl, where it's being played in their stadium, is actually wearing the away strip?
Yeah.
The Bucs wore white last year, and thank God the Rams are wearing white this year and not bone.
Wait, what do you mean? Bone? What?
You know the Rams' normal away kit? That off-white...
Oh, wait,
I thought that... in the washing machine type.
Wait, are there regular home unis, the blue ones, then?
Yeah, so normally they wear the blue, but Cincinnati are wearing Cincinnati are wearing orange, and the Rams are wearing their throwback away kits, which are actually a pristine white.
Okay. I did get a little bit confused when you said that this was a good idea when I said that the Rams were wearing white. I was like, this is the worst matchup that we could have gotten. I wanted to see those Bengals white out unis versus the Rams blue and yellows.
Yeah, that would have been good. But I'm just glad that the uniform matchup has come along in the last few years. Because can you imagine if it was like the old, like the old like dark blue and gold Rams, and the ones in case Keenum was playing for him, and the old Bengals,
the tacky Marvin Lewis Bengals, Yeah, thoroughly agreed. If you were going to make a Super Bowl, I'm glad that it comes when you've got good uniforms, Bengals. But yeah, this should be a great game. We've got Joe Burrow versus Matt Stafford, both of them, one of which in his first year outside of a poverty franchise, and the other one has converted his own poverty franchise, and both of them playing in their first Super Bowl. And I think that we could potentially see Joe Burrow in quite a few more to come. That man has the exaggerated swagger that the NFL needs out of its quarterbacks, and as a fan of a rival team, it's one of those annoying things where you just can't help but love the guy, even though you really don't want to. Which, Sam, you've never had that issue because you are in the same division as trash, garbage, and dumpster fires. And Max, the Packers are the dumpster fire evil organization in your division. So.
So there's no the Steelers are probably now going to be the Bengals whipping boys. There's no resentment.
I heard that last year about the Browns.
Yeah, to be fair,
I heard that the year before about the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm not being funny, but every team in the AFC North is capable of beating everyone in the AFC North, except the Browns beating the Steelers, because that just never happens. I'm sorry. That will permanently be etched in. They have one.
It was if you were gonna have one, that's the one you probably want to have.
Yeah, preseason Super Bowl champions have won one playoff game in 5 years, and everyone's still talking about that instead of the Bengals. But
one in five.
The Bengals are currently playing in this game and are actually not preseason Super Bowl winners. And actually have a chance, They were
actually the preseason number one overall draft pick.
Yeah, which I feel like was a little harsh because they obviously had made strides, and I rated their defense a lot more than quite a lot of these sort of faux analysts on Twitter have been saying about. But it's been a pretty fucking remarkable turnaround, really. Zach Taylor deserves a lot of credit, but
no. No, I don't think Zach Taylor deserves much credit. I don't think Zach Taylor gives his team an advantage. Basically, to me, in my head, the Bengals had a top 10 just about offense this year over the course of the season, and a top 15 defense, pretty average defense, based on I'm sorry, Tom, based on EPA per play or whatever. And to me, they sort of got here purely on a wing and a prayer, right? They almost lost to the Raiders. They almost lost to the Titans. They almost lost to the Chiefs. And now they're here against the Rams team who have been hitting their stride, I think, at the right time coming into the playoffs here. They're getting contributions out of Von Miller and Odell Beckham. And to me, I think this game is the Rams to lose, but I can see them losing.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I have no idea which way to pick this one. I've sort of said that I think that the Rams will win this one based off of I think that McVay is a better coach than Zach Taylor, and I think that Aaron Donald against that Bengals O-line will be a terrorizer. To be honest, he will be an absolute menace. But
how many points did they in that game where Burrow got sacked 9 times against the Titans? How many points did they score? Because they're going to have to score more than that to beat the Rams.
It was 17?
It was 17 against the Titans and 16 against the Raiders or something like that.
Yeah, ridiculous. They put up big numbers coming from behind as well against the Chiefs, and you know, if you'd have seen those first two Bengals games, maybe you'd have thought like, oh, they've got an outside chance or whatever. But I feel like the matchup here is very much favourable for the Rams, but you also can't write off someone that has the level of confidence that like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have got, because when it comes down to it, it is a matter of who wants it more in the Super Bowl. Like, obviously there's a lot of talent involved, but you can see teams that have got like lacking talent still really giving it their all, and then teams that have got sort of worse talent, better talent, not playing as well. Like, I'm not being funny, but the Chiefs, like 3 Super Bowl appearances, they've looked like a team that didn't really care.
Two Super Bowl appearances.
Sorry, 2 Super Bowl appearances. My bad. They didn't really look like a team that was caring. They managed to sneak it out in the last quarter against the 49ers, who just their talent levels just completely ran out. But
I don't think you get to the Super Bowl and not care. I think that's like, come on, that's like the whole point.
Well,
it's possible that you get to the Super Bowl and you're like cowed by the occasion, and I think that it's basically tangibles versus intangibles, right? The tangibles are that, okay, the Rams, if they dominate up front, that's the way that you win any game, frankly. But you know, you can say things like, well, you know, the Bengals are probably playing a lot freer and more loose than the Rams. Like, Sean McVay's obviously got the monkey of the Niners off his back, but now he's got the monkey of, okay, the last time you got here, you put at like one of the worst displays in Super Bowl history. I mean, Matt Stafford is got a monkey in his back in that, okay, he's not really. I mean, yeah, like you said, he was in Detroit, and what can you do? But at the same time, like, there were some instances in the season as well where he didn't come up clutch in the moment that he needed to. And there was some when he did, like.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams. Yeah, I was about to say the Rams got here on a Matt Stafford clutch moment.
But I mean, Matt Stafford's not getting any younger. Like, it's definitely a factor that this could be. You know, the Rams have got quite a few free agents after this. This could be Matt Stafford's last proper chance to win one, and that's certainly something that you could say is a factor. And then the Bengals are just like they didn't expect to get here. You know, they didn't. No, I mean, no one really expected them to beat the Chiefs. Nobody. Well, I would say they were probably not favoured against the Titans, but you know, they're used to playing in these tough situations and just coming away, and it suits them to a T, because it's going to be the same where people would expect the Rams to win, but they're playing with house money.
Yeah, all of like, I think in every tangible, like, if you look at every like group that'll be on the field, there is not one area where the Rams don't have like an advantage. But everything about how maybe he's not a bad kicker, but everything about how the Bengals have got here, it's all like these huge plays from receivers that you can't really, you know, discount, regardless of like the situation and the coverage. Like, if Jamar Chase wants to like shake off 3 dudes and gun it like another 80 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had to play against Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah,
so
I mean, if you look at who he's matched up against, it's been Charvarius Ward, who's the Titans' best cornerback, and then
Jack Rabbit.
Yeah, and then the sort of 5'4" amalgamation of the Raiders cornerback room. So like, Jamar Chase is probably facing his like toughest opposition. They might have to lean a little bit more on like your sort of T. Higgins or your Tyler Boyd's, like the guys that maybe a wide receiver is like 2 or 3, which isn't a bad idea. It's not a horrible thing. But
T. Higgins is genuinely like. Remember when CeeDee Lamb came into the league and it was like, oh, CeeDee Lamb's like the number 1 guy, and they still had Amari Cooper. T. Higgins is like the Amari Cooper, where he's still like legitimately a great receiver.
Yeah,
but he's almost playing second fiddle. So yeah, I mean, Joe Mixon's put together his best season statistically in his career, and that probably is an advantage where the Bengals have. They probably have a better running back than. Obviously, Cam Akers came back brightly, but the last 2 games, I mean, it was a bit of a disaster against the Bucs in the second half.
Yeah,
with those fumbles. and didn't really, as I recall, show up that much against the 49ers. How much difference does the running back disparity make when the offensive line for the Bengals is probably the worst group on the field?
Yeah.
They can be neutralized for sure.
And, I mean, if they're going to get neutralized, it will be against especially the three main stars of that front seven, which is obviously AD himself, and then Von Miller has sort of revitalized his career a little bit. It seemed like he was starting to really fly under the radar in his last couple of years with Denver, because he was obviously hurt a lot and didn't really seem to have that sort of high level of performance that he had maybe from like 2011 to 2016. But he has really turned it around. And then Leonard Floyd, who, like, when he decides to play up to the occasion, he can be a game wrecker in his own right. So, like, they have a good enough batch of guys in there that I think if the O-line can't handle...
as well.
What, sorry?
They've got a lot of depth as well. Like,
yeah.
Greg Gaines and, like, guys like Nick Scott are great depth to have.
So, yeah, I think this game is the one that has the most intrigue out of it in terms of, like, all of the possible Super Bowl possibilities that we got, really, from, like, any realistic Super Bowl matchup that we could have had when the playoffs, like, first were confirmed on who was playing who. Like,
what's hindsight? We could have ended up with, like, Packers, Chiefs, and no one would have complained, but they both...
Well, yeah, but I feel like we know enough about the Chiefs now, and we sort of know who the Packers are really as well. Like, this is Matt Stafford's first year with the Rams. It's his first year with a playoff capable team. So well, I mean, I said realistic. There was no chance that the Eagles were going to get here, but yeah. And then we also have, like, an incredibly young, they've only just come out of a pretty much nowhere Bengals team. Like, this is a team, this is a matchup, this is a Super Bowl where we don't really fully know all that much about either of the two teams. Like, we've only really had this season to judge who they are, as opposed to, like, maybe if the Bills had gotten there, like, that would have been great, but we still know a lot about them. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Do you want to pick this game and then do one bold prediction each?
Yeah, go on. I'm gonna pick I'm gonna go the Rams this way. Sam?
Score?
Oh, score wise. I'm gonna say 27 to
27-2?
Nah. 27-24 is my call.
Only a 3-point spread still, but I'm hoping that this is going to be a bit more high scoring than I think it will be, because, you know, you want to try and make the Bengals run the ball as much as you can, but I'll say, hopefully, 38-35.
You're hoping it's going to be more high scoring than you think. So is that? I guess that was what you're hoping it is, not what you think it's going to be.
My heart wants 38-35 Bengals.
And you always go with the heart.
My brain says it might be like Patriots, Rams, Lugathon.
I think it's going to... I'm going for 31-21 Rams.
Okay. The bold prediction is that if my score if it's not within 3 come the end of the game, then this is going to be like the Seahawks Broncos game where, like, one of the best defenses comes in against one of the sort of, like, more, like, potentially interesting offenses and just fucking annihilates.
Peyton Manning threw 53 touchdowns that year.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But, like, this is the thing. Like, a great defense could still, at any point, just absolutely steamroll a team. And if anything's going to happen, I mean, look at what the Rams have already done in the playoffs. They absolutely destroyed the Cardinals earlier on. Like, that game was so much of an embarrassment from the Cardinals' offensive standpoint. To say that they're an offensive team with an offensive coach who maybe is a little bit on the weaker side in terms of his actual all-round coaching game, got absolutely schooled by a McVay team. Like, if this game doesn't end up with a 3-point spread, then it's going to end up by like 50-3. That's
So your prediction is that the Rams are going to win close, but your bold prediction is that they're going to win massive.
yeah. That's what it is. I think that's what my prediction is. I'm sort of having two stabs at it, but either way, like I still have the Rams winning.
2 bites of the big super cherry.
Max, go.
Oh, I was going to say my bold prediction actually is that Von Miller's going to win Super Bowl MVP again.
Ooh, I like that.
Because I just think, I mean, yeah, he played in one Super Bowl and was great. He's really hitting his stride, and that Bengals line is like not good, and it could come back. And then you could log on to Twitter the next day, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, they should have taken Penei Sewell, and they would have won this." They wouldn't have got to the Super Bowl if they didn't have Penei. If they had taken Sewell over Chase. Like,
1,000,000%, you're absolutely right. Like if the Bengals lose this game and they have another like offensive line showing as bad as they had against the Titans, where like Von Miller gets home for like 3 sacks and a forced fumble, and that ends up winning them the game. 1,000,000%.
He would need to score. He would certainly need to. I think in order to win Super Bowl MVP, he would need to probably get like 3 sacks, at least one turnover, and probably a touchdown.
I don't know whether or not it would need a touchdown. Like if you get 3 sacks and a forced fumble, and it's like a closer game like that. Like
if the Rams offense scored like 30 points, it would go to like Cooper Kupp or Matt Stafford or whatever.
Depends on how many each of them individually get. Like if it's evenly spread out, then fair enough. But I still think Von Miller, like anyone that gets 3 sacks in a Super Bowl, is highly worthy of an MVP shout if it gets them the win. A sack is huge.
This isn't like Super Bowl 7, man. Fred Biletnikoff won Super Bowl MVP with 73 receiving yards.
What the fuck? Have you just got like an encyclopedic knowledge of like every Super Bowl pre-1981?
No, I think it was a TK12 video.
Sam, what's your bold prediction before we move on?
I think I'm wish casting here again, but I think Jalen Ramsey is gonna get mossed at every turn at Jamar Chase.
Oh, interesting.
What do you mean by every turn?
As soon as they're stood step on that turf, he's slipping and sliding.
That seems like a pretty bold prediction that every single time the ball comes near him, he's going to get
Okay, I think to put a finer point on it,
yes,
I think he'll allow. I think he'll allow
next gen stats as the closest.
I think he'll allow upwards of 70% of passes thrown in his direction.
Oh, okay. All right, I like that. I like that as a thing. We can at least measure that. That's a good one, actually. To be fair,
I mean, he's a good player, but he's no Chidobe Awuzie. Let's be real.
Jalen Ramsey.
Can we get that one marked down as well as just like a quantifiable thing? In fact, I'm going to make a note of it on the notepad.
He's no Trayvon Diggs.
Offensive player of the year, Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs is like, what was the Super Bowl where the Cowboys beat the Steelers and Neil O'Donnell threw 2 pick sixes?
Yeah, 95.
Yeah. Who was that too? Like Larry Brown or something? Was his name Larry Brown?
To be honest, I don't know. I've stricken that game firmly from memory.
Well, whoever it was who got 2 random pick sixes of Neil O'Donnell, that's basically what Trayvon Diggs
has done this
entire season.
In fairness, like, if anyone was going to throw 2 pick sixes in a Super Bowl, it would be Neil O'Donnell, if I'm being honest. Like, one of the worst quarterbacks that Pittsburgh has ever had to endure, and we had to endure Bubby Brister as well. But anyway, right.
Neil O'Donnell sounds like a caretaker manager at Bradford City.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like Rotherham United's backup goalkeeper as well. In fact, actually, this is where I'm getting confused, because Donny Rovers had Neil O'Sullivan, didn't they? Or Neil Sullivan for the best part of 20 years, it felt like. All right, so we have some other news that we didn't really get to touch upon because we took a little hiatus. The NFL coaching scape has gone a little bit mad, if I'm being honest. There's been plenty of news to get sunk into. 8 teams were left without head coaches after the end of the season. And we've now got some actual confirmed hires.
That makes it sound like it happened outside of their control. Like there was like a spate of...
Well, one team it did happen.
And like, this poor franchise has been left without a head coach.
One team did get it sort of sprung upon them in the most surprising way that a team can be informed of a coach's retirement, in an hour-long press conference that he went on with. In fact, didn't that shit go on for like 2.5 hours by the end of it?
I don't know, it was like 45 minutes. Or maybe it was like, no, maybe, I think it was 90 minutes. 90 minutes.
It went on for at least twice as long as like that. Yeah, 90-minute press conference where all he did was just run through. But the big...
No, that's not true. He also gave his full recipe for etouffee.
In typical recipe slating that, you know...
Yeah.
The
retirement spiel was actually just the prelude to the writing the recipe at the end.
Making his world famous gumbo. The biggest news really of the off-season is that Sean Payton, long-time head coach of the New Orleans Saints and long-time bane of Ed Wilkins' existence, has retired from NFL coaching, at least for a year. Decided to step back, probably because the Saints are what feels like $400 million over the cap room somehow, and without a quarterback, and without even their original potential quarterback for the coming season. They are fucked. And Sean Payton looked at the situation, looked at his many millions of dollars that he's earned over his time, looked at his legacy, and just went, can't be asked. You're on your own here now. Because he is out in New Orleans.
I was going to say Sean Payton's retired for as long as until Mike McCarthy gets fired.
Yeah.
Replaced as head coach by the defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, which is in turn why Tom Brady retired. He's like, fuck playing the Saints defense twice a year again. I've had enough of
that. I mean...
Which also happened in our hiatus.
Yeah, sorry, we've glossed over like the biggest news. Tom Brady is retired from the NFL. Like we had some retirements confirmed, but the greatest, winningest quarterback of NFL history is out. 20-year career.
I was going to say that interrupts the flow a bit, but I am steadfast in my belief that both of these people will be back in the league within 3 years.
Probably on the same team, if I'm being honest.
You know what they say? When God closes the door to professional sports, he opens a window to being a full-time shill for sham health products.
Tom Brady's been a full-time shill for sham health products for about 4 years.
No, just a part-time shill. But
no, the TB12 diet is his full-time job. Being a quarterback and winning a Super Bowl is part-time now. Come on.
Winning a Super Bowl. Tom Brady. Super Bowl winner.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, what to say? We can't add anything that hasn't already been said at length.
It's true.
Yeah.
By Tom Brady himself, actually, who made 4 announcement posts. I saw he had a video. Where
oh wait, there is one thing we can add that Tom Brady didn't say in his retirement post.
Go on.
Thanks, Patriots.
No, he did. This was in one of his other many retirement posts. He posted one.
Oh, this was in the one that was labeled like retirement statement.
Yeah, he made the retirement
2.0 final.
Yeah, he made the retirement statement where he thanked the Bucs. And then he made another one, which was a video where he thanked the Patriots. And then he made another one where he thanked everyone that he's played with. And then he made another one with Rob Gronkowski where he specifically was thanking Rob Gronkowski, who was thanking him back. There were 4 fucking retirements. It was. I mean, in fairness, like, he should have been allowed to do it on his own note anyway, considering that he is probably the greatest player in the NFL's history. Like, you win 7 Super Bowls and break passing charts just consecutively throughout your career. You probably deserve to have your retirement. But, you know, Adam Schefter and who was the other dude that seems to have flown thoroughly under the radar of everyone's shooing?
Yeah, I can't remember the name off the top of
my head. Some absolute fucking nobody.
No, he's known. He's known, but he's become known because he always has a scoop on Brady.
Yeah, but they both broke the news, and then Tom Brady, like, we got this weird thing where Brady said that he was actually mulling it over and there was no confirmation. He definitely had already announced it, like, to everyone that he knew.
If you cover Tom Brady, and that's like you've got the inside track, another Super Bowl, people have fucking heard that before. Oh, he broke another, like, passing yard record this season. Great.
He's released a new line of Nutri-Blenders.
If I were Brady, I would have dropped my retirement announcement. I wouldn't have had it leak. I would have dropped my retirement announcement as the kickoff for the Super Bowl is happening, just to fuck with everyone. Like, everyone in the media box would just be like,
no, because there is a slight difference here between. I mean, you've been watching Aaron Rodgers, who dropped his "I want to leave the Green Bay Packers" just as the first overall pick was being made. Like, there's only really one quarterback that chose entirely to make a whole spectacle about.
That was Schefter. That was Schefter as well.
It was Schefter. Adam Schefter's just reported all this shit.
Schefter's had a rough year. Remember, he had those emails come out as well.
Yeah, and then he tore his ACL about the gritty as well.
Yeah. It's been a tough year, personally and professionally.
Physically as well.
I haven't seen the Tommy and Robbie retirement video, but I'm imagining the scene at the end of Lord of the Rings where they're on the slopes of Mount Doom and the lava's coming up around them.
It's got Queen's "You're My Best Friend," and it's just them like using like mic'd up things. And I watched that in silence, and I was like, I wonder what like tacky song they'd put over it. I bet it's Queen, "You're My Best Friend." I clicked on it. First thing that I heard was "Boo, doo, doo." I was like, fucking, there we go.
No, I would have picked. What song would you pick if you were in charge of doing the Tom Brady retirement video? What song would you pick? I would have picked probably 3 Little Birds. Careful.
Yeah.
Or Beer by Real Big Fish.
No, because Beer is the underappreciated one, and Tom Brady probably thinks that he's underappreciated.
The gem in Real Big Fish's crown.
Or, like, you could have done, like, Strawberry Fields Forever as a reference to the fact that he's never eaten a strawberry. That's an off-season podcast, like retirement videos, like retirement video pictures.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. I like that.
Can you imagine the most like Facebook scrolling through my feed at like 1:30 in the morning video that I can think of is Tom Brady trying fruits and reacting to them.
Someone get the Fine Bros on the line. Tribal man reacts to Western fruit for first time.
Do you know what my favorite? Did you not see that they've changed their name of their YouTube channel like 8 years ago to now just being called React? Like, they're no longer the Fine Bros.
Yeah, but if I say just get React on the phone, I sound like an asshole. Anyway. We were talking about Dennis Allen.
Yeah, we were actually. I forgot about the fact that we had to cut across 5 lanes of traffic to get to the Tom Brady news. But yeah, Dennis Allen is now the head coach of the Saints. We also have some host news. 3 host teams have replaced their GM and their head coach this past off-season.
Well,
We got to avoid talking about the Bears and Giants and Vikings for 4 whole weeks, and then they're back on the top of the slate because the New York Giants, while we've got him, yeah, we'll talk more about the Giants here, and then we'll probably do like a full, like Mike said, like a full episode probably around like coaching hires, and probably get Ed and Emma in to talk about their guys. But for now, Brian Daboll, the former Bills offensive coordinator, is in as the head coach of the New York Giants, and Joe Schoen or Shane apparently is the pronunciation. The ex-Bills GM is in as well to replace. Assistant GM back in a GM spot in New York, replacing David Gettleman, who probably should have been fired 3 years ago, but was allowed to retire gracefully.
They should have been put out to pasture 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean that literally.
Sam,
New York Giants 2022 hashtag keep the Shanes moving. Hashtag hold on to Daboll.
Sam,
hashtag
what are you...
R1 is the white one.
All right. Sam, I'm going to ask you quickly first, what do you think of the actual hires themselves, and then we'll sort of touch about the remaining parts of this hire.
You have to feel good about it. Like, Shane was pretty involved in like building this whole Bills project that we've kind of, come to know, and
love.
A guy that's that involved in like, a process that seems a lot more, organic than how the Giants have approached kind of, player management and drafting. It has to be a step in the right direction. And if,
hashtag keep the Shanes moving.
Go on, you boys in blue.
We shouldn't make him laugh. He's currently COVIDed up.
I think at this point we can accept that Josh Allen is fairly, special in terms of what he came into the league as and what he's kind of turned himself into. But if Brian Daboll can take a
Don't say Josh Allen will be called. Daniel Jones will be called
Daniel Betterman. If anyone was to see if they could like rehab Daniel Jones, I think Brian Daboll is one of those dudes. And like at this point, I don't think they're gonna pick up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. That'd be dumb. But work with what you've got. See if you can mold his weird, misshapen form into something beautiful.
Weird, misshapen form into something. Okay. There was a little bit extra to this hire, which was that Bill Belichick, in a almost sort of revenge for beating him twice in the Super Bowl, threw the whole Giants organization and also as a result the NFL under the bus when Brian Flores received a text, ex-Dolphins head coach, about being hired by the Giants from Bill Belichick himself, congratulating him, and he texts just like how Bill Belichick probably would text, if I'm being honest.
Really?
No, I thought Bill
You
Belichick
think Bill looks like a 2 exclamation mark kind of guy?
Yeah,
I thought he would have
no,
like an old person commenting on a Facebook post from fucking the Harvard.
Well, yeah, but like that's how I saw those texts. Like I've seen that exact thing come out of old people's keyboards. But yeah, like Bill Belichick texted Brian Flores to say congratulations, to which Brian Flores said, my interview is on Tuesday, to which Bill said, oh, basically, hold a minute, wait up, is this Brian Dable? Got my wires crossed, essentially. So that's led to now Brian Flores is suing the Giants, the NFL, and also has named the Broncos for a
Giants,
previous...
Broncos and Dolphins that are like explicitly named in the suit.
Yeah, but he's not actually suing the Dolphins. He's just, in his statements to do with the suit, is also naming everything that Stephen Ross has done, which is also including tampering to try and get Tom Brady into the door in 2019. Tried to get him onto a private yacht for lunch to like tamper, which would be a huge break of
and
NFL
offering
rules.
financial incentives to lose games, which would be an even bigger
Yeah, well, there's technically nothing.
flaunting of the law.
Well, there's technically nothing against paying money to tank, is there really?
But it's against the competitive spirit.
It's against the competitive spirit, but actual tampering is against the actual rules of the NFL. Like you are specifically not allowed to do it. Like the Dolphins will probably be met by sanctions of some variety, like losing a 6th round pick, like every other time that an owner fucks up, and the NFL has to reprimand them, inverted commas.
We can't really cover the whole thing here because it's a big news story and it's going to go on for the whole summer. So we're just putting out the headliners. So yeah, I mean,
I will say before we move off it, I was thinking when it came out, like all of this, that I think as soon as the Giants hired Joe Shane, I think everyone could kind of see that Daboll was coming, but that in and of itself is kind of the issue with how they kind of work around the Rooney Rule and, you know.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that there's a lot more, like, people of colour in, like, GM and front office roles than in coaching roles, because the fact of the matter is that teams will always have a preferred coach because owners don't actually know that much about the game. They don't really know that much about front office personnel, so there's always, like, a star name that they want to go out and get.
Yeah.
And because of the status quo, it's normally a white person, whereas when it's like a front office personnel search, it's a lot more open-ended. No one's like, oh, we want to go out and get this star director of pro personnel from the Ravens or whatever. And it's a more fair and equal process, and naturally that leads to more diverse hiring. But I mean, like we said, it's going to go on all summer, and a lot is probably going to come out, and it's going to leave us all disenfranchised.
Yeah, we'll probably provide like more updates as we get them, because we will be carrying on making episodes throughout the summer. We've got plenty of non-NFL and also vaguely NFL things lined up. So, but yeah, keep your eyes posted on that. Interesting news story, and you know, I mean, we all hope that there is a change to how the NFL works, right? Like, there's no way that the league can continue to have 4 now POC coaches, which is not
it 4?
great. Maybe 5.
No, is it Mike Tomlin,
Mike McDaniels,
Lovie Smith, Mike McDaniels, and
Smith.
So that's 3.
Ron Rivera's POC, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's Puerto Rican, right? So yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, we've only got 4, which is not great. But you know, we'll hopefully get some change, and we'll keep you updated. But moving around the league, just to not sort of hang on this sort of negative view, there are actually also moves. Like I say, we will get Ed and Emma in at some point to discuss their own, but the Bears have hired former Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus as their new head coach, with Ryan Poles, the new general manager. So they've gone from Matt Nagy to Matt Eberflus and Ryan Pace to Ryan Poles. I just think that they didn't want to change the letterheads, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Old Polsey and the Flus.
Do these, like, especially Eberflus, just because I don't really know as much about Ryan Poles, does he change anything about how you think about the Bears?
No.
Like,
No, they've gone
he
back
had
to
some
hiring
good
a defensive-minded coach
results,
again.
But
Yeah.
It's Bears' tradition to have a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, I mean, even when they had an offensive-minded coach, they were still very much a team carried by their defense. So,
yeah,
may as well just go full ham onto it. Like, fuck it, whatever. But yeah, they've now got Matt Eberflus in the door, and the Vikings are set to hire, but can't officially unveil it until after the Super Bowl. The Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell, who obviously was done
former Doncaster Rovers goalkeeper.
No, you're thinking of James O'Connor, the former Doncaster Rovers, right? Yeah. But that's obviously still unofficial. But they have got an official hire in the door, and that's their general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, who was the ex-vice principal, like vice president of player personnel in the Browns. So that's actually that's a good hire.
High-ranking front office personnel manager.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going to have a general manager of really any proportion, like, the Browns have built a pretty good roster. I think it's a good hire, and apparently, like, he has some high-profile sort of feedback from around the league. We'll get Ed in, who'll no doubt know more of the details, but I pretty much rate that hire a lot more, and the Kevin O'Connell hire a lot more than the Eberflus and Poles one, but we'll have to see how
that's because you trust the Vikings more than the Bears.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And then also around the league, Lovie Smith has been promoted to Houston's head coach as their defensive coordinator last season.
He's back for a third go.
Yeah. It sort of begs the question, what was the point in the whole we're going to hire and then fire and then hire the dude that we already had in the organisation anyway?
They're finalists with Josh McCown and Brian Flores.
Yeah, he wasn't even on their list of finalists for it.
Yeah, but
they never indicated that he had a chance either. I mean, obviously he was there as a DC last year, but I mean, let's face it. I think everyone can read between the lines of this Texans organisation. They probably would have hired Brian Flores if not for the lawsuit.
Yeah,
and what that means is that they've probably hired Lovie Smith, and they're probably going to fire him next year and hire Josh McCown. So
yeah, it just feels like another kick the can down the road hire from the Texans. Like, if you're gonna groom a guy to be in your head coach, just get him in the door now and just give him the longest fucking leash.
Romeo Crennel was the defensive coordinator. Yeah. He was when Bill O'Brien got fired, he was the defensive coordinator. Took over as the caretaker, and then came back for another year.
Yeah, you're right.
And then, oh crap, who did they have there last year? The Texans are so irrelevant. I mean, his name's gone out of my head entirely.
What, as DC?
No, who got fired from the Texans?
David Culley.
David Culley, yeah. I don't know if he was there in any capacity.
I think he was. I think he was. Wasn't he their offensive coordinator?
So I don't know. The Texans just keep.
We do not need to devote this much time to the Houston Texans.
No, we don't. We absolutely.
Cal McNair has not devoted this much time to the
color and then firing them after a year.
Yeah. Let's move on. The Jacksonville Jaguars have hired ex-Eagles head coach and Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Peterson. That is a move that many of us, I don't think I remember seeing him as like a favourite for the job either. It was always sort of Byron Leftwich was like the guy.
They wanted Leftwich, but he wouldn't come in with Balky.
So they chose to keep Balky in instead, which just begs the question, what's the point?
I believe Urban Meyer was the third coach under Trent Balky who didn't last more than a year. Because Jim Tom Sula and Chip Kelly for the 49ers, I think Balky was the GM for both of those. So I don't know what this guy is. I mean, I have no fun. They hired the former Vikings GM as like some special dispensation role above the GM. So like, I don't know why they can't just fire Balky. I don't know what he's got like a. Have you ever seen this? This is a very specific reference that probably not a lot of people get. There's a sketch from the Lemmy show
Oh, go on. I
Where he
love the
goes
Lemmy
into a
show.
job interview, and he produces from his briefcase this horrible goblin-esque marionette, and he just dances the marionette, and they're like, "We'll give you a job. We'll just give you a job." And he just does it like every time they want to fire him. And I think Balky's got that marionette because something's not right.
Is this the first time that we've mentioned Limmy's show at all on the pod? Because I fucking love Limmy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously Urban Meyer had the win stand against him, but
yeah, so Doug Peterson coming in. Josh
I quite like
McDaniels.
that,
Yeah, I like the hire, but whether or not he'll actually stick around.
But-
Do you reckon that Nick Foles is going to finish out his Jacksonville Jaguars contract back on the Jags?
No. Obviously they brought him into like. I like because think about what Carson Wentz looked like under Doug Peterson and Nick Foles as well. So it's a good hire for the progression of Trevor Lawrence, which is what everyone wants to see.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's the Jags. They have a habit of ruining it every time.
True. Josh McDaniels has finally left the Patriots organization to go be a head coach, and this time it's for the Raiders.
We all know how that's going to end.
Yeah, we do. There's almost
3
no point
years,
actually
no
talking
playoff
about
appearances.
it. They also hired a new GM, Dave Ziegler has joined the Raiders. I literally know nothing about Dave Ziegler. I wrote a note about every other hire, and when I said that I was writing notes, it was me looking up Dave Ziegler to just find anything. Nothing came to mind. So if anyone knows any information, answers on a postcard, send them to Sam's Portly and Tall Mattresses, P.O. Box.
What's the 552161?
There you go.
I have Portly and Tall mattress update if you want it.
Go on.
Because I have the novel coronavirus once again, I've been sleeping on the sofa for a week, and I literally have to lie like that's like that. I have to lie facing the back, like the back seats, so I fit onto the sofa at a like diagonal.
I feel like you should invest in like what do they call it? Contortionist lessons, so that you can sort of sleep in the sort of like when they scorpion. Where you can like scorpion tail your legs over and put them round your head.
I mean, you could pay more money for a coffin that I'll fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about it.
Laugh about that.
You don't have to worry about
Bury
it.
me,
Doesn't matter,
dickhead.
does it? With a bit of luck, mate, you'll die at sea, then you have to worry about it. Because obviously then you get like a ceremonial one full of bricks, but that can just be normal size.
So they don't just like fill you up with rocks and throw you over.
No, like obviously if you die at sea, your body's lost, but they'll get like a coffin full of bricks so that people have something to look at the wake.
I think that we should just get like a mannequin from Primark or something. Dress it up in a beanie and a face mask. For Raiders Rain. Put like the old school like Harry Enfield Scouser sketch wig on top of it, and it's perfect.
If I die at sea, and then we can get like a buoyant coffin, and then just bob along.
It's
and
called a
maybe,
kayak.
Maybe some kind of
It's called
urban legend is started at some point, and then a band of roving adventurers tries to find my corpse and take the gold with him.
Sam, would you prefer to be buried in a canal boat?
I would like to travel the fine waterways and estuaries of our great nation, but I feel like that doesn't lend itself to a kind of, a supernatural family caper about hidden gold as much.
Okay. Mike McDaniel. Nice. Mike McDaniel, the 49ers offensive coordinator, is now in as Miami head coach. I quite like the hire, really. the Niners, outside of quarterback, have been pretty interesting offensively, which the Dolphins have not been at all. So, cool. Yeah, good. I like it. Dennis Allen, we've already touched upon. Rich Bisaccia, we'll talk about. I mean, the head coaching hires are basically done, but we've got some coordinator news for host teams. Got Rich Bisaccia now, the special teams coach in Green Bay, which I thought that he did quite a good job with the Raiders when he was their interim head coach last year. But if he wants to carry on being a special teams coach,
yeah, came third in coach of the year,
which is pretty good. And they had like one of the most dysfunctional.
They can't be worse on special teams. They just literally can't be worse.
Yeah, like the Packers special teams unit was akin to that sort of 2011 Chargers unit, but without the number one defense and offense to go with it. So, yeah. Long-time Steelers defensive coordinator Keith Butler has retired, and Tavon Austin gets another crack at defensive coordinator job.
Sorry, what did you just say?
What?
You said Tavon Austin gets another crack at a defensive coordinator job.
Yeah.
Terrell Austin,
my bad.
Tavon Austin is the return man.
Sorry. Terrell Austin. He's been the DB's coach in Pittsburgh for a couple of years now. He gets the job, but he's been a defensive coordinator before, so I'm fine with it. Wink Martindale, the ex-Ravens defensive coordinator, is one of the weirder sort of firings of last year, because the Ravens crossed the Rubicon with injuries, but their defense was still like, even without all of their secondary, they were still pretty good. Like, they had some disastrous performances, but like that'll come from having guys that weren't even practice squad guys for other teams as starting cornerbacks. Like,
he's the kind of coordinator where you'll see an instant boost to like Joe Schmo on the defense.
Yeah, which I mean, the Giants already had a pretty good defensive coordinator anyway, in Patrick Graham. I didn't see where Patrick Graham went, but he has left apparently. Wait.
Was Martindale on defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator?
Yeah, he's defense, because they've got Greg Roman, who's the offensive in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, of course.
And everyone was saying that they fired the wrong coordinator. So.
Quite possible, because I don't know, the Greg Roman experience, it does run out.
It does. And then Ed Donatel, the former Broncos defensive coordinator, is the new Vikings coordinator. So cool. Yeah, I mean we'll move on. To Honours Night, which happened last night. We have some awards that obviously happened. About midway through the season, I put out a little prediction on our prediction spreadsheet and got a 100% hit rate on every single one of these, so I'll take it. The only one that we didn't predict was Comeback Player of the Year, which is highly story narrative driven most of the time and is kind of hard to gauge, so we never really predict those. But the MVP, two-time MVP, back-to-back MVP. How many times has he won it, Max, in total? Four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. Getting it in his second year in a row, which is, not
Someone
bad. Yeah, I mean, he dressed a little bit like what I imagine. Aaron Rodgers.
If Tom Brady had announced that this was his final season, Tom Brady would have won MVP for sure.
Probably, but
absolutely.
But yeah, so Aaron Rodgers won MVP and sort of dressed and has the appearance of what I picture what Gary Busey looks like now.
No, he was literally going for Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Yeah, but he also looks like 40 years older than Joaquin Phoenix's Joker as well. Like,
he's pretty haggard.
Yeah, he looks, honestly, out of all of the quarterbacks that retired this year, Aaron Rodgers' like actual regular personal appearance looks older than all of them. Tom Brady still looks like he's in his 20s, and Ben Roethlisberger could maybe, like, he looks 39. Aaron Rodgers looks 50.
Really, the difference is Aaron Rodgers has really aged. Ben Roethlisberger's looked the same for the last 15 years.
True, But even still, plus also Roethlisberger's face like filled out, whereas Aaron Rodgers and his bouts
He's
of
getting drawn to.
I mean, this is what happens when you take at least 14 milligrams of ivermectin every single day to combat
The
your
colloidal
COVID toe.
silver's really kicking in as well.
Yeah. So, plus also, I imagine being married to Shailene Woodley, who lives in the other
Engaged.
side of the country.
Engaged.
Sorry, engaged to Shailene Woodley probably will also haggard you up a little bit. So, you know.
Can you imagine if they get married and he then gets a divorce, and we see like one?
What if he became normal?
Oh, break the spell!
Oh, are you thinking that Fault in Our Stars actress Shailene Woodley holds all the power in this one?
No,
So
I'm just saying,
he
like,
is-
no, Rodgers is a weirdo, but I'm saying that his divorce is most people's normal, and his normal is most people's divorce.
Oh,
He
yeah.
Oh.
I
At this
see.
point, he really should be bold. Like, he should absolutely be bold.
Well, this is why he's growing his hair out, because he's just like he's hanging on this one last time. If he gets it cut now, it'll never grow again.
There are some sad storylines in the NFL, but Aaron Rodgers' midlife crisis is right up there.
Coach of the year. Oh, go on.
It would have had no value.
Okay. Coach of the year was Mike Vrabel, who the Titans used more players this year than anyone else in NFL history, apparently, that's ever made the playoffs, which is crazy. I mean, they were the one seed. They got beaten pretty comfortably, really, by the Bengals, but like they had a whole season really with injuries galore. I mean, they were missing their starting tackle the whole season. Best running back in the league was out from like week 5. They had
I find
consistent.
it a bit weird though, because like, can you remember a single Titans highlight from this season?
The Julio Jones back corner of the end zone catch that didn't
Yeah.
end up getting given as a touchdown, even though it should have been.
Okay, that's their best moment this year.
But yeah,
An
like,
incomplete pass.
but this is the thing, like, they weren't spectacular, but they got the 1 seed and a very stacked top of the AFC. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, coach of the year. Well done, Mike Vrabel.
Feels like a long time ago. A long time ago.
That's because it was, what, nearing 6 weeks ago, really, since like anything remotely irrelevant happened outside of the playoffs. Joe Burrow was the comeback player of the year. Obviously, he crumpled his knee at the Field of Nightmares, FedEx Field, last year, and came back, and now the Bengals are in the Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow probably could have been like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this past year. So like, what a great comeback story that is. And to have the confidence in terms of his play, like, you looked at how when Dak Prescott came back this year, I feel like Dak Prescott played scared a couple times. Like, he seemed to play really like erratically, throwing the ball around. Like, he looked a little bit scattershot and stuff at times. Joe Burrow just came out and was just like, well, fuck it. I mean, I've already Carson Palmer my knee once. I kind of don't want to dip my entire career like he did, so.
I feel like there were a few moments the first like game or two that applied some kind of.
That was a really long time ago. I don't know, like, if I may be a pedant, I don't feel like Joe Burrow shouldn't have won
You don't
comeback player of the
usually
year because no, that wasn't the question. I'm going to be a pedant. I don't feel like Joe Burrow should win comeback player of the year because he didn't really like. Obviously, he was good in his debut season, but like, it's not like he was like a great who got hurt and has reascended to that level. You shouldn't. If he played, how many games did he play in his rookie season for getting hurt? Like 6 or 7. Right.
Yeah, but they were considerably way worse without him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they should give him like not a comeback or like a arrived for the first time award. Yeah, just the come for the first time award.
All right, Joe Burrow, the come for the first time award winner of 2022.
Boy, are we proud of him.
Cooper Kupp was the offensive player of the year. It's kind of hard to not vote Cooper Kupp in this scenario. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was a phenomenal standout, but like, Cooper Kupp had one of the best receiving years of all time. I think he's only second to Megatron for like most receiving yards in a season. Funnily enough, both Stafford guys. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, unbelievable season. Kind of hard to really ignore.
I think you'll find that
That's
Stafford
the
is a
link
Megatron and
there.
Cup guy.
What?
He's saying that's the link there.
I'm just pointing it out. It's just like a nice little. Oh, those guys both had the same quarterback in different scenarios and different teams, and they still made it to like the top. Cool. Whatever. I'm just trying to pad out, man. Just get off my case.
Not unlike Stafford himself.
When was the last time Aaron Rodgers was in the Super Bowl?
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Cool. TJ Watt was Defensive Player of the Year. Basically no question about this. If you tie an NFL record in 14 and a half games, kind of deserve it, really. So, well done, TJ, getting his first Defensive Player of the Year. JJ Watt was actually the dude that announced that, and they had like a little feel-good embrace on stage. That was pretty cool. It was nice to see. Jamar Chase was the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Again, like, outside of maybe a 2-week window where he dropped off and Mac Jones started to like play better, there was no doubt about this from week one. Like, Jamar Chase was a shoo-in for Offensive Rookie of the Year from like the moment that first game happened where he tore shit up. So, congrats. Probably end up terrorizing the league for many, many years. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year was Micah Parsons. Again, no question about that whatsoever. I mean, Micah Parsons was in the running maybe for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, it was him, Donald, and TJ Watt, really, by the end of it. Of course, he was going to be the Rookie of the Year candidate. Like, that's just how it was. But, yeah, like, I think all of those awards I'd have voted for anyway. Like, when I made my predictions, it wasn't like a...
putting it out there, really.
Yeah, I was just like, these guys should just win it. They are just the best ones for that award. So...
Yeah, this is a very inconsequential one. Did you see who the Assistant Coach of the Year was?
No.
It was Dan Quinn.
I mean, the Cowboys did go from the worst defense in the NFL last year to at least middle of the road. Like,
yeah, above average.
Yeah, like he did a good job. I think he did a good job.
Maybe people just like Dan Quinn and they wanted him to feel less bad about the whole Falcons thing.
Maybe. I think both of those could have been it, but yeah,
the mastermind behind Trayvon Diggs.
I think that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much it from me. Do any of you guys have anything closing before we wrap up and say enjoy the Super Bowl?
I've not got anything to say that wouldn't piss you off because I'm talking about Matt Stafford again. So I'll keep it to myself.
All right, Sam?
I think Matt Stafford is going to torpedo this and have his reputation plunged into infamy.
All right, and we will see how that whole thing plays out on Sunday. And boy, are we all excited. But we will see you at some point next week to recap and probably provide some kind of Super Bowl and regular season hangover. And we will see all of you throughout the off-season as well, because we might be fucking... This is the last one of this season. It's the last one.
Wait. Cannot wait to see Jalen Ramsey get absolutely blown apart.
Okay.
Over 70%.
Shut the hell up!
Send me my mail in the check, Collinsworth.
Collinsworth's a bitch.
Shit, fuck.
No, it's fine. We just talked through the outro.
I thought you were going to say you can't wait to see Jalen Ramsey get blown up in Jackass 4.